Do you find it difficult to read the news because as you're reading, there are so many words that you just don't know? Well, don't worry, because today we're going to read a news article together and I'm going to explain all the advanced vocabulary, grammar structures, and even pronunciation to help you improve your fluency. Welcome back to JForrest English. I'm Jennifer. Now let's get started. First, I'll read the headline, Threads. Meta to launch web version of flagging Threads app. So here, this lets you know that the article is about Threads, which is owned by Meta, which of course is the company that owns Facebook and WhatsApp and Instagram, among probably others. Meta to launch. Notice here, this is the short form. Meta is going to launch. Meta plans to launch. So they just left that out to make the headline as short as possible. Meta to launch. When you launch something, in this case, the something is a web version of the flagging Threads app. All of this represents the something. So when you launch something, it means you make it available for the first time. And that could be a product, a service, or an entire business. So when you launch a business, it means you start that business and it is available to the public for the first time. I wrote those notes for you, and I also added the articles in because in headlines, they often delete the articles or auxiliary verbs like we saw right here to make the headline as short as possible, as concise as possible. But you need the article here. In this case, you can use a web version because it's just a means any, or it can be the web version because it's a specific web version and it's the only one. Generally, when a company launches a web version, there's only one web version. So in that case, it can be unique. So you can use the, but both articles are possible. And in this case, a web version, the web version of the flagging Threads app, because flagging and threads are adjectives to give more information about the noun. In this case, the noun is app. So it's a web version of app. That doesn't sound right. Of the app. We might even say of its app. It's being Meta's app. So the app belongs to Meta. Meta is an it. So that's why I'm using the possessive of the subject it. It's. Now the, because there's only one app. It's not a app. So the or its. Now flagging. What does flagging mean when it's used as an adjective of the flagging app? It's flagging app. Flagging means weakening. So if the app is weakening, in this case, is talking about its popularity. Its popularity is weakening, which means it's declining, it's going down. So that's why they're saying it's a flagging app. Flagging is the adjective. So we've already covered a lot in just the headline. Don't worry about taking notes because I summarize everything in a free lesson PDF, so you can look in the description for the link. Let's continue. Meta is releasing or launching, as we saw here. Meta is releasing a web version. So here, notice how they add the article because they only remove articles in the headline. Now they're writing the actual article and they must use correct grammar, and articles are not optional, although apparently they are in news headlines. But when you're writing an article or an email or anything like that, articles are mandatory. Meta is releasing a web version of Threads as it attempts to revive the social media platform. Now, when you revive something, you try to return that something to a previous state because that previous state was better. So in this case, previously, Threads popularity was here. But remember, now the popularity is flagging. The app is flagging, so declining, weakening. So the popularity is here. So if they want to revive the app, they need to get the popularity back to its original level. That would be to revive the platform. I wrote that here for you. Meta hopes the web version. So notice here we have the article the. Remember, I said before that you can say a web version or the web version. Both of them are correct. It makes sense here that they used a because Meta is releasing a web version. Any web version is just a web version of Threads. Threads is the name of the platform if you didn't know. Now, Meta hopes the web version. In this case, we're not talking about just any web version. We're talking about the one that Meta launched, that Meta released. So now it's a specific, distinct web version. Meta hopes the web version will tempt back users. Let's take a look at this verb tempt. The verb is to tempt, to tempt. And this is simply to encourage someone to want something or to do something. So think of any store you go to. They put the items on display in a very certain way to tempt you to look at those items, because if you look at them, you're more likely to buy them. Or a store might tempt you to visit the store by offering you a discount. And once you're in the store, obviously you'll buy things. So that's how they can tempt you. Another word is entice. This is a nice advanced word. So if you don't know what it means, now you've learned two words. You've learned tempt and entice because they have the same meaning. The store entices you by offering you a discount. So in this case, Meta hopes the web version will tempt back users. What is tempt back users? It means that it will tempt users, the people who use Threads, to return to the platform. That's what it means by tempt back users. And they're doing this by offering a web version. Let's continue. The rival to X, formerly known as Twitter. So they're saying the rival to X. The rival to X is Threads. A rival is someone you're directly competing against. So we have Twitter, not called Twitter anymore. That's going to be a hard one to remember. So we have X and we have Threads, and they're directly competing for the same people, you and me, to use the platform. So because they're directly competing, we can say they're rivals. They're rivals. So Threads is X's rival, and X is Threads' rival. They are rivals. I wrote that here for you. And just notice that you need a possessive here. So Threads is X's rival. Now, Threads is spelled with an S. So you put the possessive sign after the S because this is how you spell the name. Now, you can also say they are rivals. And in this case, it's the same thing as saying they're competitors. The rival to X, formerly known as Twitter, enjoyed meteoric. So here we have a meteor, what you see in space, a meteor. Meteoric growth. Meteoric growth is when someone or something, in this case the Threads app, grows very quickly, very rapidly. Just like a meteor goes in the sky very quickly, extremely fast. So think of that. It's just extremely fast. Now, notice the pronunciation here because we have meteor. We end with the strong or sound, meteor, meteor, and then you just add the ick, meteoric, auric, meteoric. So careful with that pronunciation. I wrote that here for you. And because this is such a positive thing to have meteoric growth, meaning you grow very quickly, that's definitely something I would like to have happen with my YouTube channel. So why don't you put this in the comments to support me, cheer me on, and also to practice this meteoric, because if you write it down, you'll be way more likely to remember it. So Jennifer, I wish you meteoric growth. And then this was the best emoji I could find for a meteor. I think that's what this is at least. So you don't need to put the emoji. You can just put meteoric growth as well. That will be fine. Meteoric growth, put that in the comments, practice saying it out loud as well so you remember that pronunciation. Meteoric growth, woohoo, thank you. So put that in the comments. So the rival to X, Threads, enjoyed meteoric growth when it launched, we know what that means now, in July. Now, before we continue on, I want to offer you a way that you can experience meteoric growth with your English, and that's by joining the Finally Fluent Academy. The Finally Fluent Academy is my premium training program where we study native English speakers on TV, movies, the news, so you can improve your listening skills of fast English and add advanced expressions and advanced grammar and correct pronunciation to your speech. And you'll have me as your personal coach. So you can look in the description to learn more on how to join. Let's continue. However, users then abandon it just as rapidly, partly due to its limited functionality. Okay, here the it is Threads, the Threads platform. And when you abandon something, it means you leave it and you no longer use it. So it being Threads. Now notice the pronunciation here. Abandoned, because this ED is being pronounced as a very soft D. Abandoned, abandoned. Now, abandoned it. So you have to hold that D out to connect, and it will sound like abandoned it, abandon it, abandoned it. However, the users then abandon it just as rapidly, partly due to its limited functionality. Okay, partly due. This is saying one of the reasons, but not the only reason. And notice here, it's due to something. So you need this to, and the to belongs to due to the bad weather. We canceled the party partly due to the bad weather. So that was one of the reasons, but it wasn't the only reason. Maybe also not a lot of people were going to come. Maybe it was a popular weekend and people were busy doing other things. So partly due to the bad weather, but also the lack of attendance was a reason. Partly due to its limited functionality, meaning functionality meaning the features, the functions that the app has, and limited functionality means it didn't have a lot of features. It didn't have a lot of different things that a user, you, could do on the app. Meta says the web version, again, because it's a specific web version, the one it just launched. Meta says the web version is part of a drive to deliver new features, but experts warn more needs to be done to rebuild customer interest. And this is why they said that the popularity is flagging. The app is flagging. Popularity is going down. Now, a drive to do something is just a motivation to doing something. So someone could ask, what was your drive to launch the new app? So part of the drive was to deliver new features. So this is a drive to do something, and it's just the motivation to do something. But experts warn more needs to be done to rebuild customer interest. So when you add re in front of a verb, it means you do it again. So again, this is their popularity was here, but now it's flagging, so it's down here. So they need to revive. Remember the verb we learned before. They need to revive interest, bring it back. They need to rebuild customer interest, same thing, just a different word. Restore it, bring it back. And they're hoping that this app will tempt users back. Remember that one as well? And then they'll have the meteoric growth. Users will be able to post a thread, view their feed, and interact with other people's threads. So this is the functionality that will be available on the web platform. So this we can say is the functionality of the web-based platform. This is what they'll be able to do. It seems pretty basic to me, to be honest. I don't know what impression you get from that. However, other aspects of the mobile app will not be available on the web initially. Okay, initially means from the very beginning or at the start. So that would be when the app or when the web-based version launches. That would be initially. So at the very start. And this is after the web version launches. Okay, that would be initially. So the other aspects, in this case, the aspects, it means the features. So other features, functionalities, I'll just put features here, but it could also be functionalities of the mobile app will not be available on the web initially. So that sounds like they'll be available in the future, but they're just not available now, initially, after it launches. For example, so now they're sharing one of the aspects or features or functionalities that won't be available initially. For example, users won't be able to edit their profile on the web version. They'll be able to do it on the app, but not on the web version. Won't be able to edit their profile or send a thread to the direct messenger feature of its sister platform, Instagram. Okay, so you can watch out for that if you use the web version. You won't be able to do these things. Meta says it will add more functionality, so features, in the coming weeks. The coming weeks, coming is an adjective in this case, and it represents the weeks ahead. So perhaps you commonly see that in the weeks ahead, in the weeks ahead. So you can't replace these. You can't change the order of these. You can't say in the ahead weeks. You can't say that. You have to say in the weeks ahead, and you can't say in the weeks coming. You have to say in the coming weeks. So just notice the placement of these adjectives is different. In the coming weeks, in the weeks ahead, as it seeks to make the web and mobile experience of the app the same. Okay, so it seeks to. When you seek to do something, it means you try to do something. So you just attempt or try as it tries to make the web and mobile experience of the app the same. And it is Threads. That's the topic, as Threads seeks to make. And that's why, of course, we have the S on seek, because it is the present simple and you need to conjugate that with your subject. Threads raced to more than 100 million users in the week following its launch. That's impressive. Remember, launch is when Threads first became publicly available. So when it started. So you can now download the Threads app. That was the launch. So in the week following, so 1 week after Threads launched, it reached more than 100 million users. It raced to, this is simply saying it reached, Threads reached more than, but what is the image you get in your head when you hear the word race? When you hear race, you imagine that it's happening very quickly. So I get the image that this happened very quickly. Whereas if I just said reach, I don't get that same image. But notice you race to, you need that preposition to. But if you replaced it with the verb reach, it would be Threads reached more than. It's not reached to. It's just reached. More than 100 million users in the week following its launch. But by the end of July, that figure had more than halved. Okay, let's take a look at this. More than halved. So generally, in a business context, you want to see more than doubled, which is times 2. But if something halves, it means it's divided by 2, because you have 1/2 and another half. If I was eating an apple and you asked me for half an apple, I would have that apple. And so that's the verb form, to have something. I would have that apple and give you a half, and I would have a half. So when something is halved, it means divided by 2. Divided by 2. So obviously this is not a very good thing, which means it went down to 50 million users by the end of July. By the end of July. All right, that is halved. You want to talk more about doubled, more than doubled. Remember this ED here, because that means if it doubled, obviously then it would have been 200 million users if it had doubled, but it didn't double, it halved. Okay, let's continue. The tech giant, again, this is Meta. Well, Meta owns Threads. So now we're talking about Threads or Meta. The tech giant, Meta, which also owns Facebook and WhatsApp, will hope this announcement will help reverse that trend. Does this sentence look awkward to you? It looks awkward to me because it is not very common to put hope in the future simple, even though technically it's allowed grammatically. It's just not commonly done. It is common to have it in the present simple, not the future simple. Now, because of that, in the future simple, you need to conjugate your verb with the subject. So here, the tech giant hopes, because the tech giant represents it. So that's why it hopes this announcement will help reverse that trend. It's more common in the present simple because the present simple for hope, it means you are hoping it now and you're hoping it in the future. So the present simple includes the future desire and the present desire. Whereas if you say will hope, then it only sounds like it will happen in the future. And the tech giant is not, in fact, hoping now, which of course it is hoping now. It's not going to wait 2 weeks and then start hoping, right? So it's happening now. So I would say, although what they wrote is grammatically correct, it sounds awkward to me because native speakers use the present simple with hope to include the present and the future. The tech giant hopes this announcement will help reverse that trend. The platform, meaning Threads, is the platform. The platform still does not have a search function, something users have complained about. When you complain about something, to complain about something, it means you express your dissatisfaction. So let me write that for you. I wrote that here for you. The sentence structure is to complain. The verb is complain, and you complain about something. And when you do that, you're expressing your dissatisfaction. For example, you could say, this video was too long. Ugh, this video was boring. Now, you are complaining. By doing that, you're complaining about the video, my video. And then that's the verb. You're complaining, to complain, in the present continuous because you're doing it now. But these are examples of complaints. So a complaint. That's the noun form, a complaint. You are obviously welcome to complain because freedom of speech, you can say or do whatever you want. But of course, I hope, to use it in the present simple, I hope you don't complain about this video. So I hope you say, Jennifer, I have no complaints. I spelt that wrong. You need the T there because this is the noun. I have no complaints about this video. So if that's how you feel, then put it in the comments. Jennifer, I have no complaints about this video. This is another way of saying, Jennifer, I really loved your video. Because if you have no complaints, which means 0 complaints, that means you only have positive things to say. So put that in the comments. Jennifer, I have no complaints about this video. And that's the end of the article. So what I'll do now is I'll go to the top and I'll read the article from start to finish. And this time you can focus on my pronunciation. Threads. Meta to launch web version of flagging Threads app. Meta is releasing a web version of Threads as it attempts to revive the social media platform. Meta hopes the web version will tempt back users. The rival to X, formerly known as Twitter, enjoyed meteoric growth when it launched in July. However, users then abandoned it just as rapidly, partly due to its limited functionality. Meta says the web version is part of a drive to deliver new features, but experts warn more needs to be done to rebuild customer interest. Users will be able to post a thread, view their feed, and interact with other people's threads. However, other aspects of the mobile app will not be available on the web initially. The platform still does not have a search function, something users have complained about, and experts say it needs if it is to really take on Elon Musk's X. And remember, if you like this lesson and you want me to make more lessons just like this, put meteoric growth in the comments. Remember, meteoric growth. And you can also put no complaints in the comments to show me that you loved this video and you have no complaints. And make sure you like this video, share it with your friends, and of course subscribe so you're notified every time I post a new lesson. And you can get this free speaking guide where I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. You can click here to download it or look for the link in the description. And why don't you get started with your next lesson right now?